How's it going, guys and gals? My name is Sergeant Beckett, and welcome back to Sergeant Beckett Reviews. Um, Now obviously, as you can already tell, this episode's gonna be a little different to how it normally is. Because if you didn't see the first episode for this new series of Star Trek, then I recommend you do before you watch this one. But I mentioned that because uh this series opened with a double episode feature. It was gonna be I thought it was gonna be a bit too long for my personal liking and for upload efficiency to upload two episodes in one go. So we recorded about 2.5 hours worth for a bit of chit chat and two episode reviews, and then what I did in editing was cut out the essential reviews, the main review section for the second episode, and now I'm putting post-recorded intro and outro sections to go. So yeah, nothing much to say. All I've left to do is to hand over to myself and Jed to review Star Trek Starfleet Academy, Season 1, Episode 2, Beta Test. Enjoy. Um, so, um, moving on to Episode 2, which is... I forget already. Generally, they say it or I'll find and I'll put it in the editing or whatever. I don't know. And
it's an episode.
It's an episode, isn't it? Yeah. And I will admit, you saying, where's my review to? Where's my review? I didn't actually. I did. You saying that you preferred the first episode was a little surprising to me, because my review for episode 2 was, if this isn't the epitome of what Star Trek is, I don't know what is. This had I mean, I don't know if it's because if I was focused on something else in the first episode or whatever, but obviously the main theme of the second episode was obviously trying to get Beta Z back into the Federation, and obviously all the conflict resolutions within that episode. It just felt very like, I mean, Star Trek film to me.
It's very classic Star Trek morality stuff and like philosophical stuff going on. Absolutely, like all the stuff about, from my perspective, like, how best to phrase this. So obviously, I said before, I don't gel with Caleb very much.
That's fine. Yeah.
And it's a very Caleb heavy episode.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So
Yeah.
So it's like.
I get that.
I don't gel with that.
That's fair enough.
And fine. It's not like he's poorly acted. Here's the thing. I think a lot of the tropes being used to create his character are tropes that don't gel with me, particularly.
Okay.
That doesn't translate to it being a bad show or being a bad.
That's fine.
Or being a bad series.
Yeah.
In any way, shape, or form. I don't want to be here like shitting on it just because I don't gel with this one character.
Yeah.
But a counterbalance to that is, again, to use Star Trek Discovery as an example. In season one of Star Trek Discovery, I gelled with Captain Lorca. So episodes where we spent a lot of time with Lorca. Choose your pain. I like those episodes because those are the episodes where it's like, yeah, we're spending a lot of time with the character that I gel with. And then there are the episodes that are really more Burnham focused, and I couldn't focus on them. I didn't enjoy them. Same principle here. I gelled with episode 1 because it did a lot of spaceship stuff, but also we spent enough time spread around the cast that it didn't feel like the Caleb show, and I could gel with.
Yeah.
I could gel with it. I like a lot of this cast. The fact that I don't gel with him means that.
Yeah.
With this, and here's the thing. With this episode, that also, instead of spending time with any of the cast that we've already established, oh yeah, here's this brand new love interest, and I'm like, oh, I mean,
Okay.
I'll be honest. I had to struggle. I had to struggle to just not skip to see if there were any better scenes later on.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
I just wasn't. And look. Again, this is a conversation that we have to have about like Star Trek not being for X Y Z or
Yeah.
like this particular series not being for me or whatever. That's a conversation to be had, right?
Yeah.
But the fact is, I couldn't gel with a lot of this episode because it was focused very much on characters that I didn't gel with.
Yeah.
Part of that, I must admit, part of that is that sort of college, high school, like a lot of American media, like the vibe of like high school, college, young people being young anti-authority people thing. Like, I quite like the appearance by Tig Notaro as Jet Reno.
Yeah.
But that's like, yeah, that's an exception that proves the rule, really. Like, the only reason that scene was tolerable is that she was bringing his ass down a peg. That's why that scene was tolerable. I don't, I enjoyed that scene for her. I didn't enjoy that scene for, Also, side tangent, Combadge swallowing girl really needs to shut the fuck up.
She's interesting. Is an interesting case.
So, like, okay, she swallowed a Combadge. Ha funny. But, like, I'm not being funny. Either she needs to piss off, or she needs to get more competent, or she needs to, like... Because I'm not one of these people... I'm not one of these people who's come into Starfleet Academy as a viewer and gone... Oh, well, this is a military organization. Why are all these people in it? And I'm like, no, it's a fucking scientific organization. So you're gonna get people of all different temperaments, people of all different athletic builds, people of all different like body shapes and body sizes and temperaments and all of that. That's fine. But like, all that character has done is swallow her comm badge, be traumatized by shit blowing up, and yelling red alert and ticking people off a bit, and then being a bitch to Sam. And I'm sorry, she is in no fucking place to be a bitch to Sam. Like, lady, get it. I get it. You haven't had your comm badge fix for today. Like, clearly you're addicted to comm badges and you just need to swallow the comm badge to like fucking get whatever fucking dopamine high you get out of that. And if you don't do that, you're fucking a bitch. But like, don't be a bitch to Sam. Sam is fucking like I like Sam. Leave Sam alone, you fucking cow. Like.
Okay, and
I here's the thing. It's weird because like that's the kind of thing that you expect from like the British guy's archetype, like the RC jock, not the like.
Should I go on with my bullet points and then just let you sort of?
I'll rant some more after you're done. Sure thing. Why not?
So.
And another
thing. So the first good thing I get. This episode was very heavily. I think it was very quoted again. But the first one I got was a quote, and it was from again the Doctor. A C. How do we fail? If it kills you. Right at the start in the fucking science class. How do we fail? If it kills you. It's brilliant. Then obviously moving on to the obviously the outdoors training section, which is where it was confirmed. I like Laura Thok.
has eyes. It's like, oh,
the
shit. Okay.
The thing that I quoted, and I was when she was talking about her parents and stuff, and I was like that I can't remember if it was the two together or whatever, but I put it, victory is life and today is a good day to die. I like.
And what's great about that?
Yeah.
As a callback is obviously that weirdly does call back to that one moment from DS9 where Worf is about to fight the leader of the Jem'Hadar holding him prisoner.
Oh yeah.
And the Jem'Hadar clearly fucking respects him, so he's like, victory is life, and then Worf is like, today is a good day. You know, and it's like, but like,
yeah.
and the end result of that, of course, is Worf doesn't back down, and the Jem'Hadar guy is like, I can't defeat this guy. All I can do is kill him, and that no longer holds my interest. It's like, and who would think 1,000 years later, your species and his species would be getting it on?
So and obviously after the thing was on after she scared off that other cadet. Obviously, I've seen comments about this an appearance. The camera pans back, and we have a monument to fucking Boothby. Fucking Boothby. You cannot have Academy without a fucking Boothby reference.
You cannot have the Academy without. You cannot.
Again, so then obviously, as this was less of a long episode. Well, it was still a little longer than usual, but it was like a short episode than the last first one was. It had the standard start of episode structure, with again until we see the third episode. I don't know if it's going to be the standard or what, but a different intro. And also, as I mentioned earlier, I liked that one so much more. Like the music especially was like that's what as someone who's a fan of soundtrack things in TV and film, that's like a major thing for me.
I wasn't so enamored of the title music, I have to admit.
I mean, it was like compared to other ones, it's not the greatest, but from what we've heard of the different,
I think the soundtrack in general for this series has been very good. I've really liked it, but I don't know. It just Star Trek is about themes to me. Like I like a Star Trek theme, and it felt a little lacking in the theme part. If that makes sense.
Anyway, moving on from the intro, we got onto the next scene, and so you teased it. You teased it earlier. I teased it earlier. I mentioned it in the first one. The more blunter reveal. Oh my god! I can't remember the species, so I had to be a bit obvious here. Oh my god! The rock people, the Prodigy references.
Okay, I have.
Oh, yep. Okay, go on.
No.
Okay. It's just okay.
So let us point the first.
Yeah.
Okay. Blatantly, fucking, like, referencing a series.
Yeah.
That's dead and written off, and you can't fucking access anymore, and isn't even on fucking Netflix anymore. Fuck you, Paramount. Prodigy was fucking mint, and you won't even let us watch it on fucking anywhere anymore. Go fuck yourself. How fucking dare you take the hard work that was put into those 2 seasons of fucking Star Trek Prodigy and then blatantly use it as reference material like you're rubbing it in our faces, you fuckers. Alright, that being said, also, I'm not being funny, why the fuck does it just look like they took the Prodigy model and didn't adapt it at all and just dumped it in Starfleet? Why is that character not wearing a uniform when Rok'Tark herself wore a fucking uniform? Alright, why is that character not wearing an actual fucking Starfleet uniform when we know that Rok'Tark wore one?
Good point.
Alright,
I noticed that.
No, blatantly, they've just taken a fucking model of Rok'Tark from Star Trek Prodigy, made the textures a little bit more photorealistic, haven't really changed the proportions at all. It literally looks like here's a fucking cartoon character that we've dumped in the middle of fucking Star Trek Starfleet Academy. All right, it's no. All right, I love Prodigy. I love Rok'Tark. I love those characters. I love the references. I would love it if they were bringing it back, but to just transplant from a stylized art style to just transplant that character into this fucking thing with barely any alterations to the design. All right, it's just no.
Okay, so to stop Jed spiraling down.
It's so lazy though.
Let's stop.
service. Like episode 1, the doctor going tricorder, medical tricorder. That is fan service that touches upon a moment from the original, references it in a classy and respectful way that shows that the character is understood on some level. All right? You know, referencing the characters from Prodigy in that first episode shows that you understand it on some level. Blatantly transplanting a fucking CGI model that isn't photorealistic into a photorealistic setting is just dumb. It is just dumb. It's just dumb. It's so dumb. Like, I would love to see characters from fucking Prodigy appear in live action, but you don't just transplant them wholesale without some consideration of the fact that they are not designed to be photorealistic characters. That would be like getting a picture of Janeway from fucking Prodigy. Fucking anime fucking proportions and all. And fucking sticking that in there and going, oh yeah, this is just what she looked. This would be like if in the Strange New Worlds fucking crossover with Lower Decks, instead of actually having Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome appear in uniforms, they just transplanted in the Rick and Morty art style and had them walking around the otherwise live action and photorealistic Enterprise. It's lazy. Shitty laziness. Sorry.
That's
I'm
fine.
done. It's so fucking lazy.
That's fine.
No.
That's fine.
No.
So moving on from that,
It's so
the
lazy.
next, although in the same scene, obviously we have the Arcadettes coming through the corridor, and I put this down. I put this on because I find it hilarious. They were talking about them getting their assigned rooms and stuff, and obviously Caleb found the idea of being roommates fascistic, and I was like, roommates being fascism? Haha, what the fuck? I mean, I thought that was hilarious.
There's a whole joke that one could in theory make. There's a whole joke that one could in theory make about the idea that like he thinks everything's fucking fascistic.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna.
Obviously, then after that, he ends up finding out who his roommate is, and I just put, haha, they're roomies. Those two. Now I'm gonna have a pause here because I've written down this next thing, the little bot things, and I
Exocomp.
I don't think it is because I've actually.
Are you talking about the dots? Or are you talking about the exocomps?
Yes, no, that's what it was. Yes, the little thing in the turbo lift. Yes, that's what it was. Yes, fucking hell.
The exo. Yeah, no, I love
That
the
memory
exocomps.
completely blocked from my memory. Wow. Okay, so yeah, that was a funny little thing.
That's a Lower Decks reference because obviously the exocomps started out life in Next Gen.
Yeah.
Like it was Lower Decks that had the exocomps as like brightly coloured little robot drones floating around and having conversations with people and stuff. Also, I think that character's got a name.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'd have to look it up, but I think that character actually has a name. Exocomp Starfleet Academy. So let's come on. Because there's genuinely, I think that character has got a name. Because it was in the subtitles when I watched it. Unnamed exocomps. Okay, that's bullshit, because they've probably not put it on Memory Alpha yet, but that exocomp does have a name.
Oh, okay.
That exocomp does have a name. It's in the subtitles, so I'd have to go... Sorry, I'd have to go look that up at some point.
And then after that, obviously, we've got the scene in Arcade's office, with the two other cats fighting, and I can't remember what it was that was suggested beforehand, but I love it was something to do with maybe like Caleb being, or two cadets being like under responsibility of Flock or something, and Flock just goes, "Is this question multiple choice?" Which I fucking loved. And then after that, I can't remember what it was where it was, but I think they incorporate. But I at this point I was like, okay, I'm loving the the Brits that they brought on this show, because they're incorporating a lot of British sort of style language, and I'm fucking loving it. And then you mentioned it earlier before, but after that, Tig Notaro's Jet Reno. Oh, I fucking love it. I didn't have much to say on that scene. I mean, mentally I was like, obviously you mentioned the girl that was obviously a bitch to Sam and stuff. I was like, okay, it was weird. But I didn't mention anything else. The only other thing I do have that mentioned is, which was later to be confirmed, white dress girl a Betazoid? What obviously she was. Obviously that's once Caleb's trying to escape, literally on the fence, as she mentions. And the one thing that, I mean, I may have missed it, and at the end of it, he does end up talking, but the Betazoid's deciding now?
That might be... Because they're a telepathic species and they're isolationists, right?
Yeah.
It might be that a lot of them haven't bothered learning how to talk, because they just talk with their minds.
Yeah, fair enough.
So when they talk outside, they've got a sign language for that, because they've let their vocal cords and such lapse a little bit.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. And then on the
almond basket.
Right, fair enough. And then
is the name of our lexicon.
Yeah. On that similar vein with the signing stuff, I was like, are they deaf or something then? Because I was my brain was processing. I wasn't sure what was going on here. So, what was that scene for? Was it? And then there was I think it was something. I think probably between. I think it was between the Caleb and the Betazoid woman, the girl. Now, so I don't know if it applies to you, because you've already made your comments on these scenes before. But knowing from my experience of being on the internet for as long as I have been and seeing what people say, the interactions between those two, and obviously the whole team lovey-dovey stuff, some would say that's cringy. I thought it was funny, me personally. And then, the bit I liked, the bit that made me realize, okay, this is aimed at a very comedic series. Obviously, after I think it was after I can't remember if it was the school, that particular schooling after the whale incident or something before then, but it's Ake and it's Caleb in her office, and obviously Caleb goes to take a bite of this apple, but it's actually not an apple, and obviously he spits it out, and then obviously the little window cleaner bot outside laughing at him through the window. I thought that was hilarious. The next thing that sort of didn't quite... I get how they've named this, but it didn't quite jive with me, though. Replicafe. It doesn't feel right when you say it. It's a bit of like a weird mouthful. It just doesn't flow right. I didn't like it at all. But, I mean, it's a small thing, but yeah.
I mean, it's like the Tricom badge. And it's like, used to be that the com badge was actually like a tricorder as well, and it's like now they just brought back tricorders. And you know why they did that? They did that because if it ain't broke, you don't fucking fix it. Alright?
And obviously, for this, this is then the I can't obviously another one of these scenes with Caleb and that Betazoid girl, and again, another bit of fan service referencing back, but we get to the first daughter of the first house of Beta Z. Mm-hmm. That reference, which I quite liked. Then obviously, the next note was when they were having those little parties in the main area. The Doctor doing his thing, being the entertainment with that. Obviously, other than being the opera, I was really seeing it in his thing to do that. And two characters I didn't expect to see interact together, but they did it in this scene, and I quite like that, and their energies just seemed to match. Jet and Laura, those two together were just fucking brilliant. That was amazing.
No, I love that. I love that so much.
An additional note that I had that I put down after watching Track Cultures stuff. That I don't know if you'll agree on this or not, but I definitely agree with it. Truck/Who Cultures Ellie Little Child likens Ake to Janeway, and I see that.
No.
Okay, fair enough.
No, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Ake is far too open to be Janeway.
Fair enough.
Far too open, far too trusting. Makes mistakes, yes, but also is very open about them. Very, doesn't seem very much on the path to self-destruction. What made Janeway great as a character, and still makes Janeway great as a character, is Janeway is a character who not only, is basically Captain Kirk as played by the reincarnation of Katharine Hepburn. Because, Kate Mulgrew is just the reincarnation of Katharine Hepburn. She's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But, on top of that, Kate Mulgrew plays her like a person who, she'll make mistakes. And then she will suffer in silence until she has the chance to martyr herself for the sake of those mistakes. Yes, she and Ake share a love for the crew and the people under their command, as in a maternal sense. Yeah, cool. Except that Captain Janeway's maternal sense of, caring about people involves, my crew are in danger. Let me fucking ram a spaceship into another spaceship. Let me fucking blow myself the fuck. Let me fucking do the most self-sacrificial thing ever. Because Captain Janeway has a self-destructive streak a mile wide. It's the same thing in Prodigy. In Prodigy, she goes on a manhunt across space, in the Dauntless, for the sake of finding the Protostar and hopefully finding Chakotay. Excuse me. Because she's self-destructive. Arcade's not self-destructive. So far, Arcade's not self-destructive. Arcade can be a little bit self-flagellating. But Arcade is not self-destructive. Arcade has a failure, leaves Starfleet, goes off, heals for a bit, teaches people, then, becomes Chancellor of the Academy. And, there is no self-destructive streak here. There is no, there is no martyrdom. She's very much more a sort of kooky maternal figure, So, I get, that maternal aspect she shares with Janeway, but they have very different things, in my estimation, driving them.
Okay.
So.
Okay, cool. Well, and I think if you're happy with it, if there's anything you want to add on to the end of this,
I mean, honestly, the second episode didn't gel with me, as I say.
That's fair enough.
And I don't know. I mean, part of it as well is obviously I'm not a fan of the 32nd century lore,
Yeah.
the stuff with the burn,
Yeah.
the stuff with all that stuff. I'm just not. I'm not super fond of it.
Fair enough.
That's
fair enough.
And I'm not gonna. I don't wish to be rude because obviously that's now established law for that time period. Fine, sure, whatever, great. I feel like it's a bit of an albatross around the series' neck, in a way. Because. But yeah, so obviously there's a lot of things in the episode that just don't gel with me. I will say I don't think them not gelling with me translates to the episode itself being bad. It's a perfectly competent example of what it's trying to accomplish. It accomplishes what it's trying to accomplish very well. It just didn't gel with me. Which sort of brings us to that point I made earlier about, so this is not gelling with me. Does Star Trek have to? Well, no. I guess it doesn't. But the problem with franchise media is this, right? Broadly speaking, in franchise media, how best to phrase this? people like thing. So franchise is thing. People like thing. And then more franchise media happens, and more and more and more and more and more of it, you know, where people want to do new things with thing. Meanwhile, people like thing. You know, his thing. You know? And I feel like, to a certain extent, Star Trek has to remember, like all franchise media really has to remember, that people like thing. You know? So, like, my attitude with Star Trek in general is I like Star Trek because of the Star Trek things that it used to do. You know? And I think Yahtzee Croshaw made this point about Star Wars, which is, what actually is a fucking Star Wars fan anymore? If you're a fan of Star Wars, what the fuck are you even a fan of anymore? Because there's so much of it, and it's all doing radically different things. You know, what actually are you a fan of? And I think that's sort of made me reflect a little about me and my love of franchises like Star Trek, because it's like, well, okay, I'm a Star Trek fan, but actually, no. Star Trek's just a fucking brand name that they slap on any old shit these days. What am I a fan of? Well, okay, I'm a fan of the universe of Star Trek. Cool. What does that mean? I'm a fan of the iconography of uniforms. I'm a fan of the iconography of the ships. I'm a fan of certain bits of lore and setting. I'm a fan of certain storytelling types. You know, like, I like Strange New Worlds because, broadly speaking, that does Star Trek things. It's a bunch of people on a ship called the Enterprise flying through space, exploring space, and meeting stuff. That's what I liked Star Trek for, you know? And I think it's quite telling that people liked the Orville because the Orville was basically doing the same fucking thing. It just happened to not be Star Trek. You know? And I think if any franchise media is going to succeed in doing this whole spin-off thing, where it's constantly pushing the boundaries of what it does and does not do, I think, on the one hand, great, no, cool, do that. You know, have Starfleet Academy basically be 90210 in space or whatever. I don't care. You know, do it. Absolutely do it. But I think they need to be careful because they've got this, and then they've cancelled Strange New Worlds, which is the thing doing the thing that Star Trek's actually supposed to do in a way. That's the best way of phrasing it, but like, you can have Deep Space Nine if you have Star Trek Voyager or Star Trek The Next Generation going on, you know? You can have Star Trek Picard, Star Trek Discovery, Star Trek whatever the fuck you want, so long as you remember to have Star Trek Strange New Worlds. You know? You can have whatever spin-off, whatever crazy idea you want, but Star Trek still must always serve that core. And I know people don't like saying, oh, you know, it must serve the audience, you know, because they go, oh, you're pandering to the fanboys, you're pandering to the fanboys. Yeah, no, you're pandering, right? So the best way of putting it is, the audience for this thing is the audience for this thing, and you can't realistically, like in a sensible world, if you're treating this thing like a commodity, which all capitalist art is a commodity, it's shitty, but it's true. If all capitalist art is a commodity, then you can't rely on sticking Star Trek on any old shit and expecting it to work, because that's like people liking chicken and you slapping the word chicken on a packet of ham and hoping to God that the audience don't notice, or the customer base don't notice, you know? So like I liked the bits in these episodes that felt like this, you know, that felt like spaceship, iconography, uniforms, crew, captain, you know, archetypes, the things that I liked Star Trek for when I was younger and growing up. These are the things that I wanted, right? I'm not gelling with the rest of it. I don't have to gel with the rest of it. It's not seeking me to gel with the rest of it. It's seeking a different audience who want to gel with that. Great, cool. But it has, Star Trek as a brand, as an overall thing, I think still does have to remember It has a significant audience of people who want to gel with that stuff. And if you want sustainability, realistically, your best bet is you need a show that's still doing that stuff. You know? In my estimation. You know, like, this is a thing that I've said about Star Trek Discovery, for example, is you could have absolutely had Star Trek Discovery, but you needed to start with something like Strange New Worlds. You needed to start with episodic space adventures in space with a crew of people doing space adventures in space. Because otherwise, you started with something that wasn't giving the core audience, who at that point, I might add, had been starved of Star Trek for like years. You know, you weren't giving them the thing they were asking for, which was this. You were giving them this, but we'll occasionally pretend that we're trying to do a little bit of this, you know? And it's obvious that they realized that they fucked up because they course corrected so fucking hard. You know, but like...
Fair enough.
You know, I think my overall impression of these two episodes is it's great, you know,
Yeah.
It's fine. It's good, you know? It's doing what it wants to do very competently. There's some really great performances, really great characters. I don't despise it. I don't gel with all the characters, but I don't despise it.
And I think coming from you about that, that's a compliment in and of itself.
I mean, considering that, like, pound for pound, I've hated more of modern Star Trek than I've loved. Like, I at best was ambivalent towards a lot of Star Trek Discovery. Star Trek Picard's the first two seasons were dog shit as far as I was concerned. Lower Decks was great. Strange New Worlds was good in the beginning, has gone a little bit downhill. I think we said season 3 was not their best. They've admitted season 3 was not their best. You know. And like, I love Prodigy, but we lost Prodigy. You know, so I think I've been ambivalent about a lot of modern Star Trek. It'll be interesting to see, like, where this one goes. I think next week will cinch a little bit. Like, let's see where we go next. You know, because either it'll cinch that this is a show that I'm mostly not going to gel with, or it'll be like, no, this is a show that you can gel with on occasion, which is all I'm really hoping for at this point.
That's okay. Well, I think unless there's anything else I have to say, I don't think there is. Apart from my own overview, which, I mean, it's not different to anything else I've said, which is, still, I'm very sort of I wouldn't say neutral, but just very, on a very grounded level of, these are two episodes that I perfectly enjoyed that I perfectly enjoyed watching.
Yeah.
And again, like, I will say this thing, I definitely feel that I definitely feel like, especially with this type of series, the lack of previously seen, or at least having enough of previously seen, like, the typical American style 90s, 80s college/teen drama genre. I feel that that's definitely has given me a different perspective to a lot of people who are particularly naming this show. I think it's like NCC 902107 or something. 10, yeah. Which is a reference to a show that I've never seen, but I understand what the reference is of. But can I safely assume? I think you said a minute just now, but I think, can I safely assume that both of us, or at least you are as well, eager or interested to see what comes next?
Interested, yes. Eager, I reserve judgment.
Yeah,
episode 3.
I realized that. I was like, eager is probably not the right word. I give it interested instead. So, I hope you all enjoyed that episode, and subsequently episode 1 as well. Hopefully, programming shall return to normal next week. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed these, and I shall see you in the next video. Please consider subscribing to not only my channel, but as per usual, Jed's channels, which will be linked in the description. Man at Desk Productions and What Fourth Wall Productions. Please consider giving a like and a comment. As per usual, please keep the comments respectful, as we were in the video. Anything other than that will be subsequently removed. If you'd like, please also consider to look through my link tree. There's several things on there that might take your fancy. I have an Instagram. I have other socials. I also have Discord servers, which you might like as well. Thank you all again so much for watching, and I shall see you all in the next video. Adios.